I'm Ari Zwarchis. I teach language and lit at UWC USA, and I'm a first-year language and lit teacher completing the end of that first year. And some things that I have learned this year, or maybe would in some cases do differently. First of all, and this is probably obvious for most teachers, but it's especially important with the IB, working backwards from the evaluation deadlines. So really mapping out the whole 2 years is critical, figuring out what assessment pieces are due when, and then working backwards from there. So I think planning your books, based on when they come in as a component, whether it's for an IB paper towards the end, or whether it's for a written task or an IOC, really having that whole timeline mapped out is very critical. I taught a part 3 book for paper 2 by Mahmoud Darwish that was really difficult, and I'm thinking about whether I would do that again because the students leaned then towards the other 2 books and sort of didn't want to use the Darwish at all on paper 2. I might choose to do that differently and try to pick 3 books that are sort of equivalent in level and really lend themselves to that contextual analysis. I also taught a very craft analysis heavy course, so we did a lot of close reading, literary style analysis, which was great and made them very strong writers, but what I found at the end of the year was they struggled a little bit to link that literary style analysis to the larger thematic analysis. I also only had them for one of their 2 years, and I think going into a 2-year cycle, we'll work heavily on the lit or craft analysis in the first year, and then in the second year start really bridging that into the thematic analysis more. I think doing a lot of practice FOAs and written tasks, especially the written task 1s in the first year, because they tend to be the lighter pieces for analysis, and then really zoning in on the written task 2s in the second year. If you're going to use FOAs from the second year, hit them early in the year so that you can then focus in on the IOC and the books for paper 2, as well as a refresher on mass communications and multimedia texts for paper 1. I think those are sort of the big lessons that I came out with. I can't emphasize again, the woman who had my students for their first year of the 2 years gave me a grid that, named how many texts they had to read for each unit, part 1, 2, 3, and 4, what the parameters of those texts were. Some of them can be in translation, some have to be written in English, they have to come off different lists. So just mapping out that whole sort of IB set of restrictions from the very beginning, and then you can figure out your texts and be kind of set for the 2 years. I think this is a curriculum that doesn't lend itself well to sort of flying by the seat of your pants, and so having all that stuff mapped out ahead of time is incredibly helpful. That's it.